first talked about the significance of the passage excerpted from letter 4. There are two significance of the passage. First is Victor's changing from a stranger to a brother of Walton's heart. And the second one is the revelation of the admiration of Walton. And here I provided some passages in the text to support my point. From the first passage, you can see that Victor is still a stranger to Walton. And then the second passage, it shows that Walton is now attracted by Victor, and he begins to love him as a brother. And the third passage says that Walton wrote that Victor listened to him attentively, and this is just like a brother would do. And the fourth passage means that Victor gives Walton directions to his behavior, and this is also like a function of a brother. And then the revelation of Walton's admiration for Victor. In on page 27, Walton wrote that he admired Victor's eloquence and fluency of Victor's words, and he also admired Victor's appreciation of beauty of nature. And the third passage shows that Walton observed Victor, and Walton tries to find what quality it is to elevate him so immeasurably above any other person he ever knew. And sometimes when we admire someone, we probably might observe them. And the next.
Yeah. Wait. Could you summarize the qualities Walton like in Victor?
Oh.
Or the kind of person that Walton likes?
I think Walton admired cultivated, well-educated people, and those who can speak fluently and with contents.
And also those who are very sensitive to the beauties of nature.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's basically the descriptions of a romantic hero.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
And then I'll talk about the related passages of the letter's functions. As Weber, in the beginning, Weber has analyzed, I will just provide some passages to support his point. And first, the function can serve as the introduction to Walter's personality. And on page 16, in letter 1, Walton writes to his sister, and from his letter, you can see that Walton is an ambitious person, and he is also fearless of danger and death, and he is also confident in his future achievement. That he thinks that whether he will success or not, he will succeed or not, his expedition will eventually contribute all humankind, will greatly contribute to all humankind. And the letter can also serve as the foreshadow of Victor's narrative. And from these two passages, and Walton writes, "Prepare to hear of occurrences which are usually deemed marvelous." And the second passage, "Strange and harrowing must be his history." And these show that the following story will be an astounding story and scary story, and so on. And the third function of the sheet of narrative frame. Shelley, she used the letters skillfully because she provided multiple points of view from others, and at the same time she avoided the common conclusion of the readers caused by the shift of person. And like in the first passage on page 31, Walton wrote that strange and the harrowing must be his history, and then he will move on to the Victor's story, and that's a shift in person. And then from Victor to Elizabeth, from Victor's story to Elizabeth's letter. And Elizabeth, in Elizabeth's letter, she shows her concerns and describe what had happened around them. And also the same function as the Victor's father's letter.
Okay, let's skip this. Thank you.
And the final function of the letters is social interaction, because often the characters are out of contact, and so the letters can bring them together and make them contact more. And like the letters from Walton to Margaret, the brother and sister, they never encounters in the novel, and their relationship based wholly on the letters. And as for Victor's families, like Elizabeth and his father, they also interact with Victor through the letters, and even at the end of the story, the monster inscribed notes on trees or rocks to communicate with Victor. And then let's move on to.
Okay, I'm take charge of main issue, and I read through the layers and some words that Walton gives his sister. I analyzed to 7 points, and the first point is he's brave. Please move on, thanks. Brave. Why why does Walton admire Victor so much? I believe the first one is brave. He can't ask Walton to go with him, and the hardships are too great, and so he will go on alone. This is one of the reasons why Walton will admire him. And secondly, is when Walton crews want to return home, Victor tells Lan that not to give in to fear and cowardice. They should continue the expedition and return home as they succeed. And both, and this is just what Walton would want to hear, because Walton is the very insistent person, and he would like to finish his journey and get his destination. Next. And secondly, I believe is their similar personality. The first one is that both Victor and Walton are a typical romantic character. Why did I say so? From the Walton part, Walton described the love affair of the shipmasters. I think this is the outlook of the romantic characters, and both of them is got a very strong emotion to each other, and additionally, Victor knows Walton's need for close and spiritual friend. I mean, Walter at the end is willing to tell Walton the story and the giant creatures he made. So thirdly, is Walton is also aware of his guest's sadness. I mean, Walton give Victor the best concern, whatever physically and emotionally. And lastly, both men describe explore the unknown and are inspired by grand idea. They were both willing to endure the. They are both endure a great hardship to achieve their goal. So, but the grand idea, I feel this is a little bit single-minded, because they just care without ours. They just want to get their grand idea. So I think it's a little bit single-minded. Yeah. Okay. Thirdly, I analyze his curiosity. And he's lonely and longs to meet someone who shares his interests and intellectual curiosity. This is said by Walton. At the very beginning in the book, that he'll write a letter to his sister, and he said to his sister that he doesn't have a friend to share his knowledge or his interests, and he still cannot find a friend to satisfy his curiosity. However, he meets after he met the Victor. Victor satisfied everything he wants, and that's why he called Victor as a brother. He loved him pretty much. And additionally, Walton is also very curious about the giant figure, and I think this is the point that satisfied his curiosity the most. Okay. Then the appearance is and why do I think so? Because as we read later, Walton is a person who is very sympathetic, and when he looked Victor's appearance, it just showed a great sadness. He may touch her mind, and he want to give him a great careness. And his assistance, his only fear is that he may die before he completes his task. And secondly, Victor refuses to give up the chase, but when he tries to get out of bed, he collapses. And lastly, he even begs Walton to kill the monster for him if it happens. So from here, we can see this insistence that Victor's must kill the monster as strong as that Walton want to get his destination. Then I think it's a consolation. Victor has grown close to Walton, offers him words of hope, and try to reassure him that the ice will break soon. And I think most importantly is Victor's influence the other sailors, because the other sailors feel desperate because the weather is bad and they're stranded in the ice sheet. So therefore Walton says that even the sailor feel the power of his eloquence, and this is influence sailor very much and help Walton. Okay.
These are features that make Walton attracted to Victor, right?
Yes.
Okay, but how about insistence? Isn't insistence that of Victor's? So it's Victor's insistence that attracts Walton?
I feel it's one of character of the Victor. So Walton is attracted by his character. And the last one is his death. His death still influences Victor a lot, and at the end of the later that Walton learned from his death, and he learned from his tragedies, and at the end, Victor said to Walton that he now understands that it was his own ambition and selfish dreams that led to the creation of the monster and tragedies that followed. So at the end, Walton decided not to do such great adventures, and he refused to destroy himself and his crew. Yeah.
I'm going to talk about the Okay. We find 5 parts of the letter and try to give metaphor and symbol to it. And the 5 parts are all in page 27. First one, for my own part, I began to love him as a brother, and his constant and deep grief filled me with sympathy and compassion. He must have been a noble creature in his better days, being even now in wreck so attractive and admirable. At first, Walton just has interest in Frankenstein, feeling that Frankenstein must experience so many frustrations that his eyes have generally an expression of wildness and even madness. But there are moments when anyone shows kindness to Frankenstein, his whole countenance will be lighted up. So Walton tries to know more about Frankenstein by having some interaction with him.
Isn't your part metaphoric extension?
Yes.
Yeah. So what is that part to do with this? Are you going to like revise it or extend it in any way? Just now you analyze Walton's attraction to Victor, right? The passage you talked about is about Victor.
And
How he is a noble person, right?
We just find
On page 27?
yeah
Yes.
and we think we can give some meanings to it and as a method in the letter.
What meaning? I still don't get it.
I haven't give the 5 parts, but the PPT is yes. I'm not.
But this is interpretation, right? Isn't your part on extension? Isn't yeah? So then you are doing interpretation of the character again.
Oh.
Do you want to summarize your points first?
Okay. Okay, let me skip it to transformation of Walton's attitude toward Frankenstein. At first, Walton has interested but a little bit afraid of Frankenstein, but after having interaction with Frankenstein, he found that Frankenstein was not that fearful and even regarded him as his family. When hearing Frankenstein's story, he realized that Frankenstein was the one who had similar experience and could understand him. Yes, but you say that I maybe overlap other parts. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Why don't we move on to the next one? Rebecca, you are doing the conclusion, right? Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm going to talk about the connection between the letter with the companionship in our modern science. In Frankenstein, it includes great success, confusion, extreme guilt, depression, loss of loved ones, and other emotions that are human condition. Robert Walton loves the stranger because his situation is similar to that Victor. Therefore, he finds the promising companionship. The stranger reveals an equal interest toward Robert. His passion toward pursuing knowledge of science is similar to Walton is pursuing knowledge about geography. And upon knowing Walton's plans, Victor tries to dissuade him from exploring the North Pole. Victor Frankenstein creates his monster without thinking of the consequences because the temptation to do so is irresistible. We can observe the striking similarities between the present Robert and the past Victor. Victor doesn't care about his family while he concentrates on making a monster. Likewise, Walton doesn't care about his crews during the exploration in the North Pole. Victor Frankenstein now takes the role of Robert's friend, mentor, and guide in order to stop him from heading down the wrong path, a path which Victor himself had chosen once before. Victor understands that there are more worthy things in life while then fulfilling one's own selfish needs. Due to Victor's selfishness, his family members are all killed by Victor's creature. He tries to pursue Walton to seek happiness in tranquility and avoid ambition on page 217. The companion...
Skip to the relevance part.
Okay. Victor's selfishness is related to our modern science. Science fiction lovers find Frankenstein so fascinating because it is the story of a man who takes the role of God to create another man. This is seemingly impossible, but it is a tempting thought at the same time. Assumedly, Mary Shelley stimulates the the modern science to imagine the process of human cloning. through this novel. I used to think that clones were scary because I only knew about them from movies about a crazy scientist. However, nowadays, the scientists reach on cloning and experimentation with the animals. The development of modern science has proceeded at an unprecedented pace. Unfortunately, the technology boom has its pitfalls as well. Human cloning or making human beings for unnatural and selfish purposes are morally reprehensible. Cloning is condemned because of the violation of human dignity. Scientists try to clone a human being for years. It's legal to clone a human being in United States except for 4 states. United Kingdom team was the first one to successfully clone a ship in 1997. There are even clones born without problems, like the ship. Strange things can happen later in life. Everyday lives have become more convenient by the development of scientific and technological inventions. However, if scientists are doing things for their own benefit without thinking about the consequences, our future will be miserable as that of Victor's family.
Just one question. Your group didn't really work on the revision or metaphoric extension. Do you have any ideas now that you want to add to it? You know, here we have Walton writing letters about a stranger.
Because our idea is that what Walton writes in the letters, the ideas in the letters will maybe later being described and explained through what Frankenstein told in his story. So maybe we're lack of the link between the letters and maybe the stories of Frankenstein, maybe in the other chapters. The kind of extension is much related to the book, but not come out from our own creative revises.
You meant that you did extension by talking about what happens later?
Yes.
In the novel?
It's kind of a hide in the letters, which will somehow related to the events happen to describe later in the novel.
Okay, but that's not metaphoric extension. It's plot. Yeah. Okay. So anything else to add? Or to respond to each other?
Actually, after we do some after our presentation, I think that if we bring all the situations for such as a friend, just like a friendship, just like Victor and Wilton share with, it's kind of reveal the values of finding the real good and true friend is really important to all of us. And this kind of friend will maybe have the braveness to scold us when we do something wrong, and share their feelings with us, and just like what Frankenstein and Wilton share with. So after we read through the excerpt, I think this is the simplest and the most important value reveals.
Yeah, actually, I think the passage is about friendship. It's about the development of sympathy. And this you can extend a lot. I mean, it should be really relevant, right? You know, in different situations, you come across strangers who may still be strangers, but who can become friends. Okay, yeah, that's it.